Welcome to M Go Bucks. We're back here to talk about Ohio State and Michigan. I think today our main topic is going to be are the Buckeyes big softies, because Lou Holtz called them out, and there may actually be a hint of truth to that. I think I'm sure Matt probably disagrees, but we're also going to talk about the Jim Harbaugh rumors to the NFL. There's already happening. We're going to talk about Maryland next up for Ohio State, Nebraska next up for Michigan. Before we get going, Matt, how are you doing, man?
I'm surviving. I mean, this is just great. Just being in college football back, and I just love every weekend now. And just the off season was just so awful. And now that we're getting into real games again, although it's a bye week for Ohio State, I'm just loving every single day of college football.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. So how would you feel if Ohio State had gotten stuffed on that run against Notre Dame and lost?
Well, I mean,
would you still be feeling as good?
I would be. I mean, I'm still pretty worried about the short yardage game. I don't know why we can't have plays that work for short yardage. I mean, at a minimum, I don't know why we can't sneak it. I mean, I don't even remember the last time we did a quarterback sneak, but apparently in the NFL, it works every single time. So I don't know why we can't make it work in college. I mean, Penn State had apparently a nice play for their quarterback sneak with like a play fake off of it or something that seems to be working for them. I don't know why we can't come up with some sort of sneak. I mean, especially it's one thing if it's like 4th and 1 and you sneak it, but like if you have 2 downs to get 1 yard, on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, there's no way you shouldn't be able to sneak that to get a yard.
One would think.
So I don't know. That's frustrating.
Yeah, first topic. So there have been, I mean, obviously Jim Harbaugh is going to be going to the NFL at some point. I mean, I feel like that's foregone conclusion. There are some rumors on the internet anyway today I saw. There is going to be, he's possibly going to have some talks with the LA Chargers, that he's already having talks. I don't know if that's true. It's just on the internet, but man, it's early. It's real early.
Yeah, I mean, it must be nice to have one of these websites where you could just always just say you have a source that Harbaugh is going to the NFL, and you don't need to prove it because it happens every year anyway.
Sources say, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, anonymous sources say that Harbaugh wants to do a thing. I mean, I think we all know he wants to do that thing. It's just the bigger question is, does anyone in the NFL want him to do that thing also? So, maybe it'll happen.
Supposedly, a job was his last year, and he just didn't want it. I mean, that's the going thought anyway. Don't know if that's true, but if he flirts with the NFL 2 years in a row, recruiting is killed. I mean, your
recruiting, it's already taken a hit, right? You guys aren't even top 10.
Yeah, even the first year, 2021, we beat Ohio State, and then he applies to the NFL. Basically, it's terrible. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, he did that, then he came back, then he did it again last year and came back. It's like recruiting is never, ever good. You can't really come back from a recruiting standpoint from doing that. I mean, everyone's going to basically be saying, hey, don't go to Michigan. Coach might leave any second. And they're right. He really should leave. I mean, how do you feel about that as a Buckeye? Like, would you rather see him there or leave? It has to be mixed emotions.
No, I want him there. I mean, I think it's turning into a good rivalry now, which is nice because we haven't had one in a while. So, I enjoy when we actually do beat Harbaugh. So, we had a nice run going under Urban Meyer, and hopefully we can bring that back.
What? You know you're winning a lot when you say, "Oh, it's so nice to have the rivalry back." You must have been winning for like at least 2 decades before you think, "Oh gosh, it's been getting boring, all this winning."
Yeah,
maybe we should have the rivalry.
It was ridiculous. We didn't even think about it anymore. But now it's it's definitely a rivalry again. But yeah, I mean, it's the thing that makes it tough. I think the Urban Meyer way of winning was so successful in the Big Ten. Like if you have a running quarterback, and that just opens up your running game with your running backs that much more. I mean, J.K. Dobbins was a great college back, but it's just like night and day better when you have the threat of the Justin Fields run as well. Like it's just almost impossible. Or Braxton Miller with Carlos Hyde. I mean, you have just a beast running back. I almost prefer the running backs that can at least get 5 or 6 yards every single time. But I'm not sure how much of it is our. It seems like we get these guys like Travion Henderson who are really bad at short yardage. I mean, we don't ever use him in the short yard situation, but I mean, he's not consistent to get like a 5-yard run every time. Whereas, every now and then he'll break the 75-yarder, which is really nice. But, it'd be good to also have someone that could consistently get 5 or 6 every time, like Blake Corum. But I think the problem is probably more the interior offensive line. It's just like our run blocking just hasn't been there this year. Like our pass blocking has been really elite, but our run blocking has just been trash, and it seems to be bad for quite a while, especially like situationally. I don't know. Like it just seems like when we don't have like that running quarterback, we can't get a blocking scheme that's reliable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Like, so speaking, you were just talking about your lines. I would say, and would you agree with this, that Ohio State probably lost the battle? I mean, they weren't bad. They're not soft. I mean, I know we like to call Ohio State soft because some of the past issues, but they're not soft. I think they're just being out physicaled by some of the teams. Like Notre Dame out physicaled them, I think, on both sides of the ball, on the lines anyway. I mean, Ohio State couldn't get short yardage on offense, and Notre Dame was running really, really well against Ohio State's defensive line. And so, I mean, I know that Audric Estime, he had I'm looking at his numbers, like 5 yards per carry for 70 yards. The second
He only
had 57 yards for 7.1 yards per carry. The third string running back had 22 yards. I mean, not a lot of yards, but 7.3 yards per carry. So that's got to be a bit alarming for your defensive line.
Okay. Well,
they were outed so much.
I don't think that I'm worried about the defense really at all, outside of not being able to get sacks. But like we have the number one defense for adjusted pressure in the country. So like we get the most pressure of any team, but we just don't seem to get many sacks. And against Notre Dame, we were doing a good job against the run and against the pass early on. And it's just like I would say, like maybe by the time it's at a certain point in the third quarter, they finally started getting it going. And I think the fact that we were never able to get long sustained drives to give our defense a break. I mean, if you look, I don't know what it is offhand, but I'm guessing that the time of possession was, close to like 40 minutes to 20 minutes or something. I mean, it was like crazy amount. So like when your defense is on the field that much, they're just gonna wear out. So like that's not like I mean, it's because at the beginning of the game they were doing fine. They wore out because our offense couldn't pick up those third and shorts, and then we'd have to punt or whatever. And so they're able to just get these long ass drives that wear you out.
Yeah, they had long drives. I remember mentioning that. I texted you guys,
but no big plays
God,
though. Like they had a couple 20-yard plays. That's it. But no big plays. It was just like 5-yard run, 7-yard pass. Then we'd stop them once or twice, and then just lots of these short yardage things. So it wasn't like we were giving up big plays, which was a good change. It can be frustrating at times, but I don't know. I don't think that is the defense really the issue when they're giving up 14 points to an offense that averaged 40, and the offense is only on the field for 20 minutes. I mean, it seems like the offense is letting them down big time, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, points wise, the bend but don't break. I mean, I think Ohio State did pretty good with that. I mean, really, the issue is the offense now for Ohio State really isn't. It's not complementing the defense very much.
Yeah, we don't have a consistent like run game. Like it's just boom or bust.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like our run blocking hasn't been great in the middle. Like I guess our center did terrible against Notre Dame. He'd been okay for most of the year. I mean, it's his first year starting, Carson Hintzman, but he he got blown up against Notre Dame, and when the middle of your line is getting blown up every play, it makes it really hard to do anything. Yeah, and the guards weren't great either. But as far as we were talking about the toughness thing, I would just say the biggest issue on the offensive line is probably just the lack of talent. We don't have any first rounders on our line. I don't think we even have any second rounders on that line.
No way, really?
No, there's no talent. Like last year, we had Paris Johnson Jr. was number 10th, or he was like a top 10 or so pick in the draft. One of the best offensive linemen we've probably had since Orlando Pace. And then we have what's his name, the right tackle, who is he was drafted in the fourth round and went to the Browns, and he hasn't even given up a pressure or sack like all year.
Yeah.
And he's a beast. So that was we're losing two of our better tackles that we've had in a really long time, and then our center went early last year too after 3 years. So it's been a while since we had to replace 3 offensive linemen early in the draft. And it'd be one thing if you had some freshmen and sophomores that were coming in that were 5 stars, with a little inexperience. But these guys aren't. We do have one 5-star on the line, but he's not a starter. So none of our starters are projected to be high picks. So it's just you got to hope for just enough on the line where they're not going to lose you games, but it's definitely shouldn't be a strength, at least talent wise, because that's some of our weakest talent on the team, in my opinion, is the offensive line. Those guys aren't going to be drafted high, and they're not elite college players.
It's very possible. Yeah, I think we need to talk a little bit more about this. That's a good segue into Ohio State's next game, because Diego, the Maryland guy, is about to join us here.
Yo, yo, yo.
Oh, no.
Hey.
What's going on, everybody?
Look at that timing.
We're already live. You're joining us already live.
Nice.
And thank you for not having the Maryland background.
Well, I just finished watching the Baltimore Orioles clinch the AL East with 100 wins, so that's why I'm late to the party.
You had to watch that?
Oh yeah, dude, it was huge. They haven't won 100 games since probably Jim Palmer. We're talking a long fucking time ago.
Yeah, Jim Palmer.
So,
I don't know much about baseball, but I'm going to nod like I understand what that means.
So what is the spread? What is the spread for? What is the spread for Maryland this week against Indiana, Diego?
I don't know the spread. I would guess it's probably 10 to 14 or so. But
so?
It could be higher, but I don't know. It's Big Ten play, and Maryland's only played a bunch of cupcakes. So it's not like we're a juggernaut or anything. But we are undefeated, and apparently, according to you, according to your text earlier today.
Oh, it's a cliffhanger. He froze up and left us with a cliffhanger. Darn. Not even a background to mess it up. Hey, you're back.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, we have 6. What'd you say?
You were about to tell me about a text about Maryland.
Oh yeah. So Matt sent a text today, basically running down the list of all the longest winning streaks in college football, obviously dating back to last year. And Maryland was number 10 on the list or somewhere around there with 6 straight wins. So between the cupcakes and a couple of late season wins last year, we've got 6 in a row, I think. So
hey, I think Maryland is the number 4 team in the Big Ten. I thought that going in, and then I started falling out of that thought, thinking about Nebraska and Wisconsin.
Nebraska's garbage. Wisconsin. It would either be Wisconsin or Maryland. But
yeah, Wisconsin's
not looking. Wisconsin's not looking great either.
I still think it might be Wisconsin. Listen to me. Until Maryland beats Wisconsin, it's Wisconsin, and Maryland will not beat Wisconsin.
Hear me out, Diego. I think that Wisconsin might be able to beat you, but you might have the better record overall. It's because your style of offense is tough to to defend.
They beat us
So-
in the trenches really bad every time we play. So
Yeah.
Maybe not this year. It's not the same Wisconsin team as we're seeing.
well, we're not playing them this
We're
year.
not running the ball.
Well, there you go. That's the best way.
Yeah, we're not playing.
Now
them
you
this
just have to
year.
worry about your record. So that way you could truly be, fourth best in the Big Ten and not have to worry about playing them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could end up 9-3 or 8-4 pretty realistically. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, so comparing them to Ohio State, I mean, I felt like the last couple of years Ohio State's blown out Maryland just because of their supreme offense and their supreme quarterbacks and receivers. But this year, it feels like because Ohio State's not exactly as explosive as they normally have been by a long shot, Maryland might be able to just like hang in there for quite a while.
Last year, I wouldn't call last year.
Last year was close, Nate.
Yeah.
Last year
was
was
close.
closer. I'm thinking of the year before. But I think Talia usually just shits the bed at least once or twice per game is a lot of the problem. But, I mean, him being maybe he's a senior now, sixth-year senior, seems like he's been around a long time.
He's
but-
a fifth-year senior.
Yeah, all right. Probably
He
has
actually
one more year of eligibility.
He actually has another year of eligibility if he wants it.
Yeah, he probably should keep that. He shouldn't come out this year with quarterbacks. But this will be an interesting game, I think.
Yeah, I mean, interesting, but I'm not holding out a lot of hope simply because we have only one returning lineman from last year. And so the offensive line's been pretty shaky. And actually the defensive line, I don't even know if we have any returning starters. So it's a very different team, even though we have the same running back and the same quarterback. I mean, we got a whole new wide receiver core, except for the 6th-year senior that we have. We have one 6-year senior wide receiver who led the team last year in yardage and catches. But other than that, it's completely new starting, if you want to call it starting 4, because we play 4 wide receivers, I would say. And then, basically the whole team is very different. I mean, a lot of transfers. Maryland is a heavy transfer out, heavy transfer in team. So
you guys are like Colorado light this year, except for
kind of. We probably lost 20-something guys to the transfer portal, maybe 25, and we probably gained about 13, 14. And obviously of the 25, several of them were just losers we wanted to get rid of anyway. But it's probably pretty even in terms of the guys we lost that we wanted to keep and the guys that we got in the transfer portal. So
Diego and I have seen Maryland in person twice, Nate. And the weird thing about them, so both times, we saw them against scrub teams. They were losing 14-0 as we were
Both
getting
times.
in, basically.
2 weeks in a
Both
row.
times. And then they ended up blowing them out. And it's weird because it's not like a typical blowout, because most games that I watch, like let's say Ohio State wins 42-14 or something, I usually feel like against most teams that's a fairly convincing win. And I usually come out of the game feeling really good about my team. But Maryland is so weird because I don't ever feel like when I leave the game that it was like a dominant win, but somehow they just got those 40 points really quick when I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. It's very unusual.
Yeah, they were down 14-0 to Virginia, and they won 42-14. So
yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
That one
did you feel like that was a dominating performance, even though they had 42 points in a row?
Yeah, not at all.
It didn't feel like it was dominating. It was weird.
No,
I don't know.
I recommend not spotting Ohio State 2 touchdowns for the beginning of the game. If you do that, that'll be.
We didn't spot Michigan State points, which was good. So, I mean, we won 31-9, I think.
Yeah, you didn't need to. But hey, I mean, you said that you're new on the lines. Ohio State is, according to Lou Holtz, is softies pretty much on the line. So maybe this is going to be a fair matchup here. I mean,
Lou is suffering from dementia, number one, at this point, and Ohio State's coach is suffering from lunacy. So you have two people with very serious problems. One is old and the other one is crazy and young. And
can I just make one
take.
defense to the comment real quick before you?
Yeah, continue? I want to hear this. Hear this.
Okay, so here's the best defense to what he said. You haven't seen the whole thing, first of all, have you? You've only seen. You haven't seen the whole everything he said in that interview that
I heard him say that the world is against Ohio, which in and of itself is an insane comment. It's like a Trumpian comment. Okay, go ahead.
That's not something. First of all, that's not something he invented. Ohio against the world is just something that people from Ohio always say.
Okay, it's a weird.
That's just something he's latching onto. I agree. I mean, if he just came up with it, I would agree with you.
That's a weird comment.
No, I know, but that's just a standard phrase that people from Ohio State always say. But the thing was, before the interview started, he was standing next to Larry Enig, who is the SID or whatever, and he tells him, he's like, "Watch this," and then he goes on and so like this was like a planned, like he wasn't like emotional and like saying all this stuff, like
so he's not planning. Crazy. So he's not crazy. He's fake.
That's even worse.
Yeah. No, he was just trying to like fire up the fans and fire up the players and get a good soundbite for the recruits. I mean, that's what look at Dan Lanning over in Oregon. You saw like what he did before that game with Colorado. Everyone is trying to get their soundbites so they can get on ESPN, and then the recruits see it. And like us in our 40s, like we think it's lame, but it doesn't matter what we think. I don't like a lot of the alternate uniforms, but the recruits like that shit, and apparently all the recruits that they called and asked what they thought about what Ryan Day said, they all loved it. So,
Okay, but hold on. Once they're a recruit, what are they going to say? They hate it. I mean, if I'm
they're not, these aren't people. I mean, not all these people are people that are committed to Ohio State. They're asking just regular people that are considering Ohio State. What do you guys think of it?
Okay, so what I want to see is a fucking analysis of the ones that are considering Ohio State and what the close rate is as opposed to the normal Ohio State close rate. Because I'm going to say that a lot of parents are fucking like, yeah, you're not playing for this guy. He's fucking Looney Tunes. Let's fucking get a better team. Let's find a better team. Or not a better team, but a team with a fucking sane coach. That's what I think. That's what I think I would say if I were a parent.
But don't you think that most people today are a little bit more in the, crazy mindset where they, let me look at, I mean, not to get political, but just in general, like people that are the loudmouths are the ones that are getting all the attention in every arena, whether it's politics, whether it's sports, like Deion Sanders, and just like anyone who's like loud and brash is getting the attention.
Attention as a currency is one thing. But good attention versus bad attention, I think that still matter.
That's good. I definitely don't think it comes across from my point of view as good. I don't think it was like as terrible as some people are making it out to be.
No, I don't think it was that bad. I was just surprised by how fucking loony he sounded. I thought he was more level-headed, and maybe it was all an act. But
I mean,
he should not be an actor. He should stick to.
Did you see the dancing in the room afterwards? I sent that too.
No, I didn't see it. I mean, listen. Don't get me wrong. None of that is serious. It doesn't really matter. I just think that it was uncharacteristic for Ryan Day to act like that, and it was awkward as fuck. If you're someone who's watched post-game interviews before, it was like he was trying to relate to kids, and he's fucking acting, and everyone knew it. I mean, come on. Well,
but also
I hope he was acting. I hope he was acting. Because if he wasn't, he's crazy.
I mean, he said before the interview, watch this.
Oh,
so if you say watch this before you say that.
I didn't see that part. That saves him from needing a straitjacket, but it doesn't necessarily make him fucking, I don't know, believable.
I mean, you're a salesperson at this point.
I disagree. Yeah. I think he was pretty serious about that. He was pretty fired up right after they just won, and the way they won, that was total genuine. reaction.
Okay.
So you don't think that context means anything, Nate?
You don't think watch this means anything?
He says, "Watch this." It's
the SID.
Hey, watch me go pop off. I mean, I don't think that doesn't mean the whole thing was staged or fake. I think
I don't know. When have you ever seen him act like that before? Ever?
Never. But the dude's under a lot of pressure to win, and he probably thought he was going to lose.
He has Notre Dame wins of it. He has the most wins of any, like the best winning percentage of any coach in college football. He's got nothing to worry about.
But he's been losing the big ones though for the last couple of years.
You mean to the douchebag?
He's been losing the ones that matter.
You mean to the douchebag team to the upper left-hand corner?
Everyone loses to Georgia. Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone loses to Bama. Like the last 5 years, everyone has lost to those two teams. Like that's half of his losses. Like he lost to Trevor Lawrence Clemson team and beat a Trevor Lawrence Clemson team. You know, and he lost to like that 2020 Bama team was one of the best teams I've ever seen. I mean, they were unbelievably loaded. Look at the receiving core on that team. It was just nasty.
Sick.
I mean, it's just absolutely sick. And then,
by the way,
I mean,
have you researched Ryan Day's background?
Like what part of it? I mean,
like
I know
his family life.
Oh yeah, I know his dad killed himself when he was.
Yeah,
I don't know how old he was.
Oh no, I didn't know that. Oh, did we lose Diego again?
Yeah. he needs to get a better internet connection, I think.
Another cliffhanger. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I think Ryan Day was being totally serious there. I thought he was being genuine. And I think the pressure, like it's not from losing to Bama or losing to Georgia where the pressure's coming from. He lost to Michigan 2 years in a row. In 2 years, he shouldn't have lost. And
I already said that. The pressure's coming because he lost to that douchebag team in the upper left-hand corner.
That's what's happening. That's why I'm saying it was.
I love how Nate goes, yes, my douchebag team.
Yes, my douchebag team. And you know what? That team very well could win again this year because one of the next topics here is about Kyle McCord, and the question is should he be better right now, being in the third year into the system at Ohio State under Ryan Day? I mean, this is his third year. You would think, everyone's kind of treating him with kid gloves like he's a freshman or something, like a true freshman, like he just got off the bus. He's been there for 3 years now. It really seems like he should be a lot better than kind of like what he's displaying, especially with those receivers they have. I mean, think about it. What would Taulia do if he was at Ohio State with those receivers, You know what, though?
You know what? I haven't seen too many of the drives where I'm thinking, this drive is failing because he just didn't make the pass. Almost all of our drives are failing because of our running game, not because of him. I'm not saying he's perfect, but like when you have a shit running game for like that's just killing your drives, every one of the drives that are like ruined against Notre Dame is all because of the running game.
Yeah, the running game is definitely an issue. I mean, if you're watching this, last year, the year before, it's been the running game, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not
awesome running back.
I'm not saying like he's obviously nowhere near CJ Stroud, who's like, I mean, you're taking a guy who's the best quarterback we've ever had at our school in our school's history, and you're following up that guy. So you never want to be the guy after that guy, right?
Hold on, I thought that was Dwayne Haskins.
Well, Dwayne Haskins was really good too, obviously, but I mean, he's even better. I mean, CJ was just perfect.
CJ was had like supreme arm talent and accuracy, but I still think that I don't think he's been the best. I mean, maybe numbers wise, I think the best winning quarterback you've had was Justin Fields by a long shot. I mean, the best.
I would say that's the one thing. So in college,
never beat Michigan.
I would say Justin Fields is probably more important, just because that run threat is so important. But CJ would have been just as good as Fields had he actually run it like he did in Georgia. What?
Wow, this is a very professional show.
It is. Matt's having to yell at people.
Oh my God.
Almost as good as Diego, just disappearing every once in a while, walking away.
What do you mean?
Go to the
I just
bathroom.
go to get some whiskey. It's my shtick.
Okay. Well, you're forgiven then.
There's nothing wrong with some shtick, okay? And I don't know if Matt is intending for his wife yelling at him to be shtick, but if it is, it's kind
No,
of funny.
that's Sari. That's Sari, actually.
Oh, sorry, your daughter. In any event, I think McCord is it's early on for him as a starter. So I think it's a little premature to be, talking about him as a junior. Was he a junior? Redshirt junior?
Yeah. So,
junior,
and the other thing is,
he hasn't played. So
it's not the fact that he was. I mean, he started one game 2 years ago when CJ got hurt. But the issue is, one of the problems with Ryan Day is he doesn't let backups at certain positions get any playing time.
right.
So like the quarterbacks, even when they come in at the end of a game when we're blowing someone out, they usually would just do handoffs and stuff. So like the guys are not ready, and somehow we've been able to do Haskins and Fields and CJ, and it's been fine. But like those guys have all come in without having any practice before they were thrown into the fire.
So what rank do you think Kyle McCord has in terms of total QBR in the country?
In the country? I mean, I don't think it's very good.
Oh, really? You don't? You guys think it's bad?
Let's look it up.
How about
let me guess. Let me guess before you tell me. I'm going to guess let's guess. I'm going to say like 40th in the country. That might be a little optimistic.
Yeah, I think you're being optimistic. Oh, all right. What did you say it was, Matt? Because you cut out there for me.
40th.
Yeah. How about it's 5th in the country? How about that?
What?
Yeah. How about that?
No way.
Number one, my number one is Michael Penix Energy. Number two is
Caleb.
Tyler. Huh?
Oh, the Miami's quarterback's number 2.
And number 2 is Tyler Van Dyke. Number 3 is JJ McCarthy. Number
JJ's
4,
above Caleb Williams with 3 interceptions.
Number 4 is Connor Weigman from Texas A&M. Wow.
He's hurt though. He's out.
Number 5 is Kyle McCord. 6 is Drake May. 7 is Sam Hartman from Notre Dame. 8 is Dylan Gabriel from OU. 9 is Jordan Travis from Florida State. 10 is Cameron Ward from Washington State. And 11 is Caleb Williams. And the guy he unseated at Oklahoma, Spencer Rattler from South Carolina, is number 12. So how about them apples? How about them apples, fucking Michigan guy?
Ooh.
What do you have to say about that?
He's a lot better than I thought. In QBR, QBR's kind of a strange stat.
Okay,
because
listen,
why
I don't want to. I don't want to hear your political attack, like your political attack on the fucking system. I don't want to hear it. Okay,
it's not MAGA, the only.
Listen, your MAGA attack on QBR is not acceptable. The whole fucking country, anyone listening, all 3 of the people listening, reject your argument out of hand. So try again.
Right. You guys can talk about QBR. I'll be back in a minute.
Someone's daughter or wife is causing trouble.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear it.
So,
I don't want to hear it.
I do, but let's talk about it. So what does that mean? What does QBR mean to you? Does that mean the best quarterback?
I don't know that it's unimpeachable in terms of ranking quarterbacks because you play different teams, but it is the best stat that exists for a quarterback, the best single stat because it incorporates a bunch of things and it's better than passer rating. So if you're going off stats and not talking about opponents, there is nothing better than QBR. And
No,
so
I'll be the first to talk about him, Kyle McCord, as just winning that game against Notre Dame. That was wildly impressive. And that last throw he made, wildly impressive. Even though Notre Dame kind of, I mean, they mismanaged the game. They really should have just won by running out.
At the end, they mismanaged it too.
Yeah,
the last couple of
they
plays.
mismanaged everything at the end, basically. They had that win. But
no, I mean, did you see that?
That throw?
I don't mean to cut you off, but did you see that final play? There was literally, I think that was the play, and I could be wrong. I think that was the play with 10 players on the field.
Yeah.
Was the last play the play with the 10 players on the field?
The last 2 plays, they had 10 players.
Okay. So not only were there only 10 players on the field, 2 players were back from the line on the right-hand side of the field by about 2 to 4 feet, somewhere in that range. And had they been on the line on an obvious running play, if you look at the formation, they would have, even with 10 players, potentially stopped the Ohio State player from the running back from scoring, because he only scored by about half a yard. And those 2 guys weren't even in the play, like they were expecting a pass play or something. It was really weird. And of course, with 10 players, you're also already down a player. So I think Notre Dame, I mean, the coaching was horrific. They should have beaten Ohio State based on just, that last sequence. But you got to take into account Ohio State did beat the number 7 quarterback, which is Sam Hartman, or who is, I should say, Sam Hartman. So it's not like, it's not like they weren't playing a tough. I mean, Notre Dame is for real. Notre Dame is for real, and Ohio State is for real. And I think they're going to finish top 5 in the country, both of them.
I agree. Yeah, and they play Maryland next after their bye, and then they get Penn State. I mean, that's a tough lineup for the Buckeyes. I mean, if I was a betting person, I might say I don't think they make it past both those teams, but I think they do.
I think they do.
I don't think they're going to lose to either one of those teams, honestly. But I don't know. I thought Ohio State. I picked Ohio State to beat Notre Dame 34-17. That was my prediction. Wow.
Okay. Well, you were expecting more offense.
I was expecting them to wake up for a big game, and they kind of played the same way they always played. But that last throw by Kyle, I mean, my gosh, if he hadn't made that throw and the Buckeyes had lost, I mean, can you imagine the screams coming out of Columbus for Ryan Day? But he did. You can't take it away. But that was that one play he made. It was so good.
So I have a question for you guys, and maybe you guys would know better than I do. Admittedly, I don't know much about Notre Dame, but would you say that it's possible that Notre Dame's defense is that good? I mean, like how have they played? Do you guys know how they've played against other teams? Have they played anyone tough?
No, but they're a top 10 defense. I know that.
Okay, there you go. They played like it. They played like it. So I don't blame Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you're not talking, my friend. Your mic is not working. And by the way, let me tell you right now, if Maryland beats Ohio State, okay, I'm going to be at my reunion, my 30-year reunion. Okay, and I'm actually planning it. And I forced the venue to have a screen up with the fucking projector so that the Maryland Ohio State game would be on during my reunion. Okay, that's how much I care.
Okay, let me tell you. If you really cared, Diego, you would have changed the date completely.
Well, here's the thing. I couldn't do anything about it because I had it in my mind well before the schedule. Well before I knew the schedule, about a year ago. I had it in my mind that the reunion would coincide with homecoming. And my high school's homecoming happened to be October 6th. So the reunion was going to be the next day. Even though we were going to do something October 6th also, we're going to go to the game and then go to the bar afterwards. So it's like a whole weekend thing. But anyway, my point is I had little choice because I told everybody we're gonna have our reunion homecoming weekend. So I fucked myself. Anyway.
Isn't that going to be like a depressing end to your homecoming? I mean.
Well, no, because if we win, I am honestly,
Like I said, isn't that going to be a depressing ending to your night?
listen, I honestly might try coke for the first time and have sex with a prostitute that night if we beat Ohio State. So I'm just letting you know that
Letting us know about
coke
that.
and whores might happen that night. It might happen. I'm not kidding. If we win, it's gonna be a fucking first for me.
It should really be the other way around, Diego. If
What
you
do you
lose,
mean?
you need to self-medicate a little bit with the coke and the whores.
No, coke and whores are for victory.
Okay.
Like drinking is for fucking losing, and we have plenty of booze, obviously there. So
Diego,
Well, there you
you
go.
must not have won very much because victors don't pay for that. The victors don't have to pay. I don't think you
How about
know.
fans? How about fans of victors? I think they have to pay. I'm not on the football team. I have to pay. I'm also almost 50. I have to pay for what I'm looking for. What I would want.
Okay,
So
Okay.
to get back to the actual game that's going to be played in 2 weeks.
Oh, by the way, for the record, I'm seeing a very nice lady, and this is all just for the sake of entertainment, and nothing I have just said is actually accurate or true in any way.
Okay.
okay, disclaimer. After the fact.
Disclaimer. Yeah, disclaimers
After
work
the
better
fact,
when you say
disclaimer
that
does not
before.
count, Diego.
You have that backwards. But anyway, as far as the game goes, though, like one of the things that was tough when we played you guys last year, in addition to having a terrible defense that we had the last 2 years, we had a ton of injuries going into that game. Travion, I think, got one touchdown, and then he got hurt immediately, right? Or did he even play in that game? Was it?
I don't
Did he get a touchdown early?
I don't remember, but Travion, I don't think played.
I thought he got like a quick touchdown, then got hurt like right immediately in the first 5 minutes of the game. Like I think he scored because we came to the game late as usual, and I think he scored a touchdown as we were walking to our seats, and then he immediately got hurt after that. And so like we were on running back, we're most of the last year we're on running back 3 or 4.
You mean you were on another 5-star running back that you recruited?
Yes.
That you don't.
Well,
have
4-star running backs.
You don't have any respect for, but is fucking every team in the country would kill for.
Yeah, I was surprised. So our number 5 running back, Dallin Hayden, who had 100 yards against you in that game last year, as our number 4 or 5 back, depending on which injured running back is technically better than him or not. He supposedly got
your best running back was Mayan Williams, I thought.
Maybe. I don't know.
Last year, Mayan Williams.
Well, yeah, I would say last year Mayan was the best, but he was hurt a lot last year too. So, he couldn't really do a lot in half the games because he was always injured. And Travion was injured in most of the games. He just had a bad year overall between all the injuries and everything else. But yeah, he's looking a lot better this year. And then Dallin Hayden, he had a couple 100-yard games and he looked really good. But Tennessee offered him an NIL deal, and he stayed with us to be our number 5 running back. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe he was getting NIL from Ohio State. I mean, sometimes that matters.
Well, let me just say this. I'm always amazed by the top 5 or 10 programs in the country post NIL that are able to keep second, third, fourth, fifth stringers when they can start immediately on another team. And, that team, if there's enough of those guys, who are second, third, fourth, fifth string on division, on the top 10 teams in Division I, any of the, like if you get, I don't know, 10 transfers and you're a team like Maryland, all of a sudden you're a top 25 team. So I don't understand. Like, I really don't, I would have thought there'd be more parity resulting from NIL than there has been, I guess.
Well, I think it's pretty good. I mean, look at the Pac-12 this year. When was the last time the Pac-12 had so many good teams? I mean, there is a lot more parity.
It's true, but like I'm speaking from Maryland.
And it's just starting, and it's gonna get better. Like parity.
I think it is gonna get better. Yeah. I think kids are gonna not value the lore of Michigan or Ohio State the way they once did.
Oh yeah,
unless those schools just build up the NIL, so it's the same as it was before.
Right. The only thing that's going to keep Michigan, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, those schools from keeping those players, or the only thing that'll keep them, recruiting and having players on the roster who are 5-star recruits who are backups is money. That's the only way, because eventually kids are going to be like, wait a minute, if I can make even close to what I was making with Michigan or with Ohio State or with Alabama and play for fucking, I don't know, South Carolina, why wouldn't I do that if I can start for South Carolina and I'm on the bench, with Ohio State?
Yeah. I mean, Diego's right. You just froze there, Diego. But yeah, I mean, that's how Michigan got all their offensive linemen. They've got them on NIL deals. I think they were going to come back anyway, because I don't think they were good enough NFL
Everybody
prospects.
there? You hear me?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you froze up a little, but I was just saying you were making a good point, because that's what Michigan did. They've got like a whole first they have a first-string offensive line on the bench right now, probably because of NIL and transfer portal together. And so next year, I think the offensive line isn't going to drop off much after all these guys graduate, because they've been able to just retain and keep getting guys in the program and make guys come back from going into the NFL, because it'd be like, hey, come back, get the NIL money, and then you'll be a higher draft pick next year. It's a lot more possible to do that now. But
yeah,
I think it's still determined. We don't know what's going to happen with all this, because eventually the NCAA is going to have to, or someone is going to have to make.
Congress? You mean Congress?
Or Congress, somebody.
Congress is going to have to step in if they want to stop, the violations of the rules, that most people think are happening right now, where the schools are involved in the NIL. It's not Mike's auto dealership, offering money to a kid after the kid already committed. It's before the kid commits, the actual university offering him money, or I don't even know exactly what's happening. But the point is, there are definitely violations of the current rules that are going on, and it's happening with impunity. And
you mean like Addison leaving Purdue for USC last year?
Wait, who did you say?
Addison, the top receiver. He was
Jordan Addison?
He won the Blednikoff at Purdue.
Oh,
and then
okay.
He went, yeah. And,
by the way, you realize I hate Jordan Addison because he's from Baltimore, Maryland, and he didn't commit to the University of Maryland. He is persona non grata. He is dead to me, and I hope his career ends up in flames.
Do you dislike Blake Corum too for the same reasons?
Absolutely. That little midget.
Okay.
That little midget should suffer in any way possible. Hopefully he ends up not having more than a 1-year career in the NFL.
Well, Michigan's running him enough. He may not.
Well, he deserves it for being a traitorous Marylander who does not value his home state. And by the way, I would say there's one guy that out of all the Maryland guys who've ever left, there's one guy that I hate the most because he talked about, Maryland pride, and he.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Diego starts popping off Ryan Day style about Maryland pride. That's what happens. He gets the freeze. Well, when he comes back, he's probably still talking. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, no, I was still. Yeah, what is going on? I don't understand. You're still pixelated, actually.
Do you hear a screeching sort of fax noise when you get online?
I don't know what's going on.
He has an AOL modem over there.
How do you know it's me? How do you know it's not one of you guys?
Oh.
No, I'm asking. We've never had this problem before.
And you're the only one freezing.
Oh, okay. To me, you guys are freezing. So, okay, maybe it is me.
Yeah.
Shit. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, what I was going to say was there is one person in particular that I despise with a white hot passion who committed to Maryland and then decommitted. And after expressing his love for Maryland, and there was even a movement. I think it was called the Movement to bring all the Maryland high school kids to the University of Maryland to make sure they didn't leave the state. And this one kid not only destroyed the movement by doing what he did, that piece of shit went to Ohio State. Now, that piece of shit I can't mention anymore because it's something that happened, because that would make me a terrible human being. But that piece of shit still is the person or the player that I despise most in the history of college football. So I'm going to leave it at that because I'm not trying to be a terrible person.
Yeah, I'm not a terrible person, but it's always I'm not a terrible person, but a big hairy butt coming around the corner like that. Yeah.
Let's just say that I don't like players from Maryland who leave Maryland when there's only one school in Maryland that plays college football. And you have every chance to bring glory to the state, and all you do is go to some fucking place that fucking, you're going to be third string on. Only recently has there been NIL where I kind of get it. There's money involved.
Yeah, maybe Under Armour can change things around now.
Under Armour probably has done its best. I have no doubt. I mean, the guy played. Kevin Plank played for Maryland. He was on the football team. He was a walk-on the football team for, I think, the whole time. So he's doing his part. I mean, he spent, I don't know if it's 25 or 50 million on the indoor practice facility. He's a big donor. He's the real deal. He puts up lots of money and works hard to make Maryland good. But these kids, they're wayward. They need guidance. I don't know what we have to do. They need somebody to set them straight. They end up in fucking Ohio.
We gotta close this down soon. Before we go, what do you guys think your predictions are since Ohio State's off this week? Who is Michigan playing again?
They're playing Nebraska at Nebraska.
Okay, so you guys have your first road game of the year, and then Maryland is playing Indiana. Is that home or away? That's home one, yeah, because you asked me to go. Okay, so Maryland's got another home game against a team at least that has a really good defensive line, so that'll be interesting. Even though they're not a good team, their defensive line is really good. So it'll be interesting to see how Maryland holds up against the first team they've faced with a pulse on defense.
Why, Indiana's defense is good?
Yeah. Their defensive line is good.
He's saying that because they gave Ohio State some trouble in the first game. They must be good.
Yeah. I remember that. It was like 20-something to 3.
Yeah, they got I think one of the top 10 NIL transfers. Andre Carter came from the MAC. He's like a superstar, so he's going to be tearing your offensive line up. But luckily for you, their offense is really bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so let's get a prediction for the Maryland Indiana game and Michigan's first road game of the year.
Maryland Indiana, I say 34-10. I don't even know if Indiana can score 10, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Michigan is a 7. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say they do give up 14 to everybody.
Michigan is a 17-point favorite right now at Nebraska. Yeah. I think they do better than that at Nebraska. Everyone's saying they're not going to do that good, maybe even less. But I think it'll be 21 points. It's going to be a little higher than 17. So I say 31-10. My math is right. 31-7. That's what I say. Diego, let's hear your prediction about Maryland.
All right, so I'd say the Maryland-Indiana game will be. I'm going to go with 17-10.
Really?
Yeah, I don't have a lot
Indiana's
of faith.
going to win?
No, Maryland. 17-10 Maryland. 17-10 Maryland. I don't have a lot of faith in Maryland's ability to score based on what you guys are saying and what I'm looking at here. Their defense is actually, their defense is held up pretty well. I mean, they've given up.
Well, Akron took them into 4 overtimes, but other than that,
okay, 4 overtimes to score 27 points.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I don't know. I could see this being a low-scoring game. Talia has not impressed me this year in terms of his ability to move the ball. So I'm gonna say 17-10 Maryland.
17-10. Wow.
Yeah. I'm
not very much faith in the offense. Well, Talia's got another year. Maybe he's just a year away. Maybe the seventh year COVID year will be like Talia's year for him to shine.
Well, no,
I'm say 24/7 Maryland.
Oh, well, I hope you're right. So Michigan's playing who again?
Nebraska, at Nebraska, and the line is 17 right now.
I mean, what has Nebraska done this year?
They've got a pretty good defense, but their offense has been absolutely atrocious.
Didn't they lose 13-10 to somebody?
They lost to Minnesota.
Yeah, 13-10.
Then got completely crushed by Colorado.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bigger gap than what you're saying.
I think it could be.
Yeah. Well. I think it's going to be really a blowout, but I don't know the exact numbers, obviously. Well, nobody does. We're not Nostradamus, but I'm going to go with 41-10.
Wow, 41-10. Oh, you're even more optimistic than I am.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Michigan I don't think Michigan's even scored 40 this year. I could be wrong about that.
Well, they're gonna this week
stat chasing at all.
They're gonna this week because they're playing a Big Ten opponent and they want to prove a point. They're not playing the cupcake. So are we gonna address the Maryland Ohio State game, or are we gonna wait till next week for that?
We'll wait on that one, but I got to get going. I'm going to give my prediction. Michigan is going to win their first road game 24-3.
24-3. That's not bad. Nebraska could very well not score very much, and Michigan could very well only, score a few touchdowns the whole game and just run the ball out.
All right.
Short game, 3
All
hours.
right, so
I gotta head out.
No. Before we go, I want to hear your Heisman favorite.
Oh, Penix is winning.
Way too hard right now. There's so many Heisman favorites right now.
Penix is winning.
Huh?
All those
Michael
quarterbacks.
Who's your quarterback?
In the Pac-12, there's just
Penix
so many options.
Who is your pick? Make your pick.
I'm going Penix too right now because I don't think they want to give Caleb Williams. I don't think they want to give anyone the Heisman a second year. I think Penix is going to do it. I think they're going to beat USC.
So big Penix energy is going to win. I'm going to go with.
Nice.
I'm going to go with Bo Nix.
Oh Jesus! Really? Did Diego freeze up again right as he was saying Nix? Right when he was emphasizing Nix, Bo Nix.
Bo Nix, not Bo Penix. Bo Nix.
Not bad. Not a bad pick. It's possible. I don't think he can get past Washington and USC, but I'm not even sure whether those guys play. So
we shall see. All right. Well, this was fun.
We'll wrap it up. Thanks, Diego, Maryland guy, for joining. We'll talk again next week. We'll give our Maryland, Ohio State pickups. And everyone, please like and subscribe. And thanks, guys, for joining. It's been awesome. Have a good night.
All right. Go Bucks.
Go Blue.
Go Terps. Go Terps.